the microphone. Okay, hi everyone. We are live now. Uh, Hopefully you can hear me on the microphone. I always seem to have issues. Well, this is going to be a good one tonight. I tell you what, because we are not only talking about October surprise possibilities. Let's go through them. We're going to talk about the latest newsworthy sightings on UFOs. And I'm actually going to go into the specifics of the Washington D.C. UFO sighting. So thank you guys for being here. If you are here, go ahead and say hi in the chat so I know who's here. And thank you guys all for being here yet again. You know, I'm live from Phoenix, Arizona. I've said it before. You guys have been with my channel to hear about that. But it was 94 degrees here today. It felt hotter than 94, quite honestly. And then this Saturday, it's supposed to be 100 degrees. And there's a big fall festival this weekend. 100 degrees. Are you kidding me? We're heading into the end of October. You know, maybe the October surprise is like a crazy heat wave. No, I don't know. Well, hi everyone. We've got all over Montreal, Atlanta, Los Angeles. I love it. Everyone's here. South Carolina, Manitoba. Hello, everyone, and thank you all for being here so much. Well, let's go through it. The original Washington D.C. UFO sightings. Let's go through that. I didn't go in detail on it on the last video that I just posted. I wanted to talk about more of the October surprise. We'll get into that in a second. But let's go through the original Washington D.C. sighting. We're going to go over that now. So originally, it was in the summer of 1952. There was unidentified intruders seen over the capital of our country. So it all started, it was a very hazy afternoon in the summer of 1952 in Washington, D.C. They were actually going through a heat wave, just like we're going through it here in the Southwest. But something gripped the city a little bit more than the heat wave. Air traffic controllers at Washington National Airport reported seeing strange blips on the radar screens. They said the crafts being seen on radar were moving at speeds and agility that defied explanation. They had no idea what these things were. So then on July 12th, these whispers among the people, monitoring the radar, they became shouts. And 7 of these unidentified objects were glowing in the twilight sky over DC, over the Capitol. And they were spotted by experienced flight controllers. These UFOs performed impossible maneuvers witnessed by hundreds of people. The witnesses said they were darting, they were hovering, they were silent. There was no engine, there was no smoke, there was no noise. And they said there is no aircraft known that can move like these things. So eventually, civilians and military alike were reporting the sightings. There's many testimonies of these UFOs, and some of the testimonies said the sky was alive with UFOs. The Air Force even got involved. They were caught off guard, but they were scrambled to investigate these UFOs. And so, of course, it made the newspaper there. And then on July 19th, the biggest incident happened. A radar operator tracked a UFO approaching DC. They didn't know the intentions of this thing. They didn't know, is this like, I don't know, some new German aircraft? Is this something from Russia? What is this thing? So, of course, the Air Force, desperate to identify what this UFO was, they launched a squadron of F-94 fighter jets into the sky. It's now nighttime. So the pilots, they're racing towards God knows what. They don't know what these things are. You got to, can you imagine being in that? I can't even imagine. So they closed in on the UFOs, doing maneuvers, trying to keep up with these things. The UFOs were accelerating to speeds. They left these jets in the dust. So these pilots are just sitting there flying. They're in awe as they watch the UFOs vanish off into the night. So it left the pilots with like, what are these things? This is obviously before social media, before the internet. So this could only make it in limited amounts to the papers. Most of what they saw didn't make it to media. We don't know what these things are. Only people that knew the pilots and maybe in their older years, they shared what they actually saw and what they really thought these things were. So after these sightings became a national sensation, it fueled kind of like speculation and fear. And then all these sci fi movies about aliens came out and television shows. The Air Force did have an official explanation they gave to the public. They said, oh, these objects were likely weather balloons or temperature inversions. And people were like, no, weather balloons do not move like that and they don't fly together, because there was multiple UFOs sighted. So, what do you guys think? Who were these? What were these? Where were they from? To this day, the summer of 1952 remains one of the most famous UFO sightings by hundreds of people at the same time, civilians and military alike. So that's the exact story, or, the entertaining story of kind of what my title was about. So I kind of see the October surprise. Hopefully, there's nothing. But couldn't you see something like that really interfering? If you had to pick something that would interfere with an election, I think something like it would have to be on the level of something like that to interfere with our election. So I don't know. Let's look at some of the comments then. What do we have? We've got Oklahoma, Missouri, California, Tennessee, Texas. We got the whole country here. And this is a good comment. Thank you. Rebecca says, most of my friends are corporate or commercial pilots who see UFOs all the time. Fighter pilots have seen them also. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see, Patrick, what are you saying? You do realize they were developing nuclear rockets since the 40s. I mean, so do you think that's what the Washington, D.C. sighting was? You know the term Foo Fighters, right? So multiple bright, round UFOs, flying in teams, defying the laws of physics, and multiple military maybe pirates and pilots have seen these things. Yeah, around that time frame, right? Since World War II and on. So, what are the latest sightings? So, let's look at that. So, in June of 2023, the Pentagon did release a report on UFOs. They detailed over 270 sightings of, now they're calling them UAPs, right? I'll say UFOs, by military personnel between 2017 and 2022. So, these reports didn't explain what these sightings were, but it did acknowledge that they are real phenomenon that needs to be investigated further. Did you realize that official report came out? So then that was in June. Then in July of 2023, the House subcommittee held a hearing on UFOs, and the House Subcommittee on Intelligence held a hearing, the first such hearing in over 50 years. And it featured testimony from military pilots and intelligence officials who witnessed the UAPs or UFOs firsthand. And then we move to December of 2023. NASA creates an independent study group on UFOs. So NASA announced the creation of a study group. And this group is to be made up of scientists, engineer, and other experts who are going to study all the available data on UFOs and try to determine what they are. I mean, I think everyone has been trying to determine what these are for decades. It's nice that NASA is creating an official group, kind of like the X Files of NASA. That's pretty cool. So, right? So, all this went down in 2023. And I feel like more stuff gets leaked out. Are we going to just come to a head here at the end of October? I don't know. I'll be very skeptical though. If something does happen at the end of October, that tells me there's more government involvement, because I don't think an intelligent life form from another planet or dimension or universe is just going to show up before the elections. So that's my take on that. I could be wrong. So then it gives us a link to the UAP task force and to MUFON and all that. Okay. So we'll look back at the comments. Ontario is here. Scott says he saw a UFO near DC in 2005. Could have been a US prototype. Silent, very fast, but flew straight. Yeah, I'm sure there's aircraft we don't know about yet that are still, top secret. We don't know about it. Uh, but it doesn't really explain what went on in the 40s and 50s, right? And then Patrick says, I watched a UFO flying above the clouds in the early 90s. It glowed so bright the clouds looked like they were on fire. Yeah, that's something to know. And what is this, James? General Curtis LeMay was in the know, but kept it a carefully guarded secret. Senator Goldwater tried to get to the bottom of it at Wright Patterson, but Goldwater was yelled at by General Curtis LeMay, never to mention it again. Goldwater was literally cussed out by General LeMay. That's why I was saying on my video that all these presidents that had witnessed it, and there's several presidents that have said, I'm going to get to the bottom of UFOs and release it to the public. And isn't it interesting that after their term or during their term, you never hear about it again? My thoughts on that, they either found out something so bone chilling, sinister, frightening that they don't even want to be involved in it anymore. They don't want to know more. Or they truly are being kept in the dark, that there's maybe kind of, I'll say, a deep state, and I don't even know if they would know, but maybe like a whole secret part of the government we're not aware of that are very aware of UFOs, and the president is just never aware. So I feel like it's it's either or. I kind of go with, I hope it's the that the president really doesn't know what's going on, because I think if they had found out it's something like, say, an interdimensional being that, it's like our planet. There's good and evil, and I'm sure there's good and evil in other dimensions, right? And anyway, I'd rather not. There's enough to deal with humans on our planet versus dealing with interdimensional beings, right? Yeah. So anyway, okay, so there's that topic. And then I did want to talk about what you think about the October surprise. Someone on my last video did mention there might be a power grid failure. Yeah, that could definitely mess with an election, or like a cyber attack that kind of takes down. Oh, like all the election machines were our digital election machines. They've all went down. There was a huge hack. We're going to have to postpone it, or um, who knows? So I think those are very viable things that could really interfere with an election. Um, what else besides a power grid failure? And that's why I put that video out before. Like, if there is a power grid failure to be the October surprise to get in the way of things, you guys know we talk about it on this channel, right? It's still not too late to, it's not a bad idea to have one of those lithium ion batteries on hand, some solar power panels to charge that. So at least you can power your cell phones, your laptops. It can even do fans and lamps and little oxygen machines, all that stuff. It's just so smart to have. Um, looking at the comments because I see them scrolling by. Carrie, hi from Texas, saw a UFO in the DFW area, V-shaped with 5 lights. Yes, that's like what we saw here in Phoenix with the Phoenix lights. Who did a short, really amazing documentary. If you're on the YouTube channel, I think it's Jason X, something like that. He did a really great short, like 5-minute synopsis on the Phoenix lights. It was really good, so I recommend that. But yeah, that sounds just like what we saw here. Georgia Peach, I've heard presidents were forbidden to go to some military bases. Yeah, isn't that wild? Red October 25th. I mean, and then, I guess they could always create some type of, some type of, maybe saying there's an invasion or a threat of a military invasion, yet there's no invasion going on. I think for them, it would just be easier to either do some type of viral hack, power grid outage, or UFOs. I mean, the good news is there's not some new pandemic coming around. Not anytime soon. Let's hope. Knock on wood, everybody. Knocking on wood. Okay, so I think that's that topic. So we did have some viewer stories and comments that were set in, and so we're going to go over those now. There's some really good ghost stories, so we're going to we're going to switch topics for a second, and we're going to go into that next because we haven't done that in a while. So let's flip over and do that right now. So this came from, let's see, did she gave me permission? And let's just go through this. I haven't read this yet, you guys, so we're going through this together. Okay. So she's writing from Tucson, Arizona. And she says, let me start by saying I'm a very spiritual woman. My family and I are from Mexico, and I grew up encountering ghosts and other entities as if it was something normal. And that's why nothing seems impossible to her anymore. I had a coworker and he was an atheist and did not believe in the afterlife. I loved debating this subject with him because he would try to rationalize the paranormal with scientific explanations. It was always a friendly debate. He would simply end with, if I can't see it or touch it, it doesn't exist. I'm sure you guys have heard that before, right? So she would reply, like air? Come on. I'm telling you, there is a God and an afterlife. He would just smile and carry on with his day. So her job requires her to cover different locations when short staffed. So it's not unusual to be away from regular site from a long period of time, sometimes up to 3 months. My coworker also transferred to a different site, so I didn't see him as often as before. And every time that coworker passed me in the hallway, he would shout, "Superstar," because I love to sing and it was the nickname he gave me. So then early in October, I noticed that he got super thin. And I thought it was weird because he loved food. And so I went up to him and asked, why do you look so thin? And he said the new lab was busier than ever. And he didn't have the time once he was able to sneak out to the lounge to eat during the day. So I had a bad feeling not to press for more information. So something told me just to give him a hug before I went back to my work area. And then my boss asked me to cover another clinic for just another day. And that's when one of my other coworkers came into the office to ask me if I heard that that other coworker was very sick. And I said, "No, I just saw him a few days ago and he looks so thin. What's wrong?" And she told me he was diagnosed with cancer, but she didn't know anything more. I was shocked. I got on Messenger right away to ask him, and he replied he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And it made me so sad. And he knew I knew he didn't believe in God, but I told him about miracles anyway and wanted him to know I'd be praying for his healing. And I still have the conversation in my Facebook Messenger, and she copied it to me here. I see the conversation right there. So then she woke up. This was a long time later at about 2 a.m. to pray, and she began praying for him. And she asked for God to help in his healing and asked for him not to suffer. So later on, about 2 p.m., she was washing dishes and she was home alone and she didn't have the TV or the radio on. And all of a sudden, she heard this coworker's voice whisper in her ear, "Superstar, it's true." And right then, I knew Mike had died. And she began to cry. She stopped washing the dishes and instead started making a video to honor his life and remember what a great person he was. I just knew it in my spirit because I heard his voice. I posted the video I made. Oh, and she posted it right here. I can see it. People knew him and started to comment on the status and asked me when he passed. And I did not have the details because it was my intuition. And he himself told me. His spirit told her and nobody else. Hearing his voice gave her peace of mind because it took it as him telling her that it was true. Isn't that amazing? Because he said, "It's true." That means he knew it's true. There was God in heaven. That's like a beautiful ghost story. It's not scary at all. It's just very, just reassuring. And you guys, it's the real deal because she sent me pictures of the text messages and the video. That's just beautiful. So thank you for sharing that from Tucson, Arizona. I didn't want to mention too many names because, you know, but thank you for that. That was beautiful. Okay. Yes, Calla Lily, I do. I love Linda Moulton Howe. I think she's amazing. Love her. Yeah. Love her reporting. Big fan. Yes, I am. Okay, you guys, let's go to the next story that was sent in. Let's go to this one. Okay. I'm reading this the same time you guys are. So if it gets weird, I might have to stop. So here we go. This is from a viewer sent in, so I'm going to read it in her words just as she's sending it to me. I have been a nurse for 38 years and I worked a lot of night shifts, and eerie things were very common on that shift. Well, yes, of course. Sorry, I just had to say. Okay. I'm an empath, so I would always be in tune to the good and the bad energies. And I will tell you about the patient who had the most unsettling death experience I have ever seen. By the way, you're allowed to share. Thank you. I'm sharing it right now. Okay. There was a woman on my unit who I was told was mean-spirited and to be careful around her because to date she had bitten 3 nurses in the past and the last one had almost lost the tip of her finger. It was basically held in place by her acrylic nails. In all my time there, I never heard her speak. She had a dark aura to me, and for some reason, what she did verbalize always gave me visions of a movie I saw, set in Louisiana, and was full of stories of like hoodoo, not voodoo, like you would hear about more frequently. I thought of her vocalizations like they were like chants that gave me goosebumps, and she scared me. Then came the night when I received report that she had stopped eating and was crying continuously, had been put on every 1 hour Roxanol, comfort care, and had been for the last three, even though she was receiving the Roxanol as ordered. So I gave her medicine as ordered, always under her tongue, because I believe that comfort care was meant to be comfortable, and she was not comfortable. I also added her routine Ativan when possible. Nothing was working. On the second night, I could hear her crying as soon as I arrived to work. I don't know what gave me the idea, but I felt that the tears were from fear, not physical pain. She had received so much medication by now, I couldn't quite believe she was still alive, let alone crying. The beds at the nursing home were all 12 inches from the floor if there was a fall risk, and her room made my chest heavy. My heart raced, and I just wanted to get out. So, having her bed that close to the floor, I had to squat right down next to her to give her her medication under the tongue. I nearly died myself when I reached to put the medication under her tongue at 3 a.m. When her eyes flew open, she grabbed my wrist, looked at me in the eyes, and said, "Pray with me." Oh dear, I was startled beyond belief. I'm spiritual, but not necessarily religious. And even though I knew how to say a proper prayer, I wasn't capable at that moment. I told her that I was at a loss, but I would get someone. I ran to the aide from Jamaica and asked her to come help. She was not only religious, but also psychic. We entered the room and she spoke with my coworker as clearly as she had spoke to me. She said, "Mama, you have to help me. I'm so scared." The psychic asked her if she was worried about going to hell, to which she cried harder and harder and started to beg for help. My coworker said a prayer with her that I understood none of. Then she broke into a beautiful, amazing grace that brought tears to my eyes. She sang 2 or 3 more and then said another prayer. The patient said she was no longer afraid and being told many times that all had been forgiven. I opened the window just a little bit and we walked away in silence. The patient didn't pass away that night. She actually lasted another whole day, but she was quiet and restful that next whole day. And I'm definitely a believer. That was a viewer story that was just sent in. True story. This is a nurse that had been a nurse for 38 years. I completely believe this story because, as you guys know, I have seen some weird things in my career. I completely believe this. And thank you for allowing me to share the story. And thank you for sending that story in. I think it's really important that we share those, especially for those people that they're like afraid of dying. And again, you guys know because you watch my channel. Absolutely, there is another dimension. There is God, and you can ask for forgiveness. Look, I am no expert, right? But those things I absolutely know 100%. So again, thank you for that story. I think that was beautiful. Okay, let's look at some comments. Any questions or comments? God is real for sure. Oh, it's cooler in Colorado. Thank goodness. Wait, what is that? One night I woke up suddenly, looked outside. I was sure I saw the lunar excursion vehicle from the 1960s Apollo program. Really? I don't get it. Like, saw it in the sky, saw it on the ground, saw it in a lucid dream. Like, how did you see this? I am curious. Okay. She was at peace. Yeah, that was a great story, wasn't it? I literally got goosebumps when I was reading that because I completely get it. When the Lord calls, I'm going running. I know. I am so not afraid of dying, and I feel like, you know, I'm so curious. Like, yeah, I'm a journeyman shipyard worker at Old Tots, was a labor U.S. warship. Hmm. Settled in the church from where I live. The side door was open. IV shortage. They had to cancel my surgery. What? IV shortage? Is that exactly what they told you? Huh. I mean, we're not having a shortage here. I wonder what. In fact, it's weird because I just ordered a case of saline. No problem getting it. No problem getting IV. So, could it be your part of the country? Can you tell us? You don't have to say exactly where, but what part of the I want to say you're in I can't remember. I want to say you're back east. But wow, okay. Oh, cuz the hurricane wiped out the IV plant in North Carolina. That makes sense. Maybe we're just running on stock fumes here. We're just running on fumes. And, the supplies that we have are still kind of making it through in Arizona. Well, so did they reschedule your surgery? Hopefully. Hopefully they did. Why can't they get it shipped from another part of the country like California? I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, I think it's normal, Bill. I like your comment. It's always, I think it's the human condition to always be questioning things, right? That's why we're different from the rest of the animal kingdom, because we're so curious and we question and we have a sense of humor. And the world has been a crazy place since 2020. So I think it's completely normal to question things and question how you feel. But sometimes pay attention to the little messages because sometimes your loved ones on the other side, God, angels, they'll send you little subtle coincidences and messages to like open your eyes. I love when that happens, by the way. And I know this isn't an angel message or anything, but the other day at work, I was wearing a green dress and then two other women were wearing a green dress. And it's happened before where out of the blue, everyone's wearing the same colors. And I'm like, what is that? What is that about? That's some kind of like, we're all tapped into kind of like the same vibration somewhere. I know that's but it's like the little coincidences just make you think like, huh, I don't know. Yeah. Hi, Kevin. Thank you for being here. Hurricane hit Carolina and caused the shortage. Emergency only basis, Washington State. Oh, Washington State. So you're in Washington State and they're saying they're having an IV shortage, but you would think we could get it from the ports in California. Baxter IV plant, North Carolina, it made 60% of the US supply. Okay, I get it. All right. Maybe we're just stocked up in Arizona because I haven't had any trouble getting saline or IVs here. So, but good to know. Thank you for that because it makes sense. Like, hello, you know? Um, boy, that's interesting. So, okay. And then as far as comments, so you guys are in agreement as far as like if there is an October surprise, like how can we be ready for that, right? Whether it's something big and splashy, right? I think the media would gobble that up if there was UFOs spotted over the Capitol or California or New York or whatever, right? But like that actual media cameras can be on it because really, I know there's stuff online, but it really needs to be live on camera, don't you think? Either that or the virus or computer hack. So I don't know. I might do a survey. Like out of those three things, what's most likely? Hopefully nothing. Hopefully we're done with the craziness and we can just like go to the voting booths, vote your heart out, and everything will be well, right? Oh, yeah. You're like, I'm not worried about the elections. I'm in Canada, right? Um, yes, it's an important election. And I just always like to say, as long as you get your little voice heard, and it's important that we all get out there and vote. It's really important, right? Because then you can't complain afterwards if you don't like the outcome, right? Yeah. Oh, this is a good comment, Beverly. When I worked in a corporate office, there were 12 ladies who were all pregnant at the same time. It was quite unusual, and this was in 2001. Yeah, what was in the water there in that building, right? That's funny. Yes, the factory where IV fluids was destroyed by Helene. Yeah. It's the most important election. I agree. I agree. Because I see it in real time, and I know you guys do too. I live in a border state. I'm here in Arizona, and I love helping the rest of the world. Immigration is great, but we've got to get this under control because um, this is not sustainable. Like, this is not sustainable. We cannot have chaos. And whoever wins the presidency has got to fix this. We cannot rescue the world. We can take, like, immigration, but again, like, people have to get back in the day there was like a questionnaire, physical exam, physically vetted, because we don't want a virus like Marburg that last month, September, the big outbreak of the Marburg virus, which is very much like Ebola. There's really no cure for that. That would shut an election down. And how easy would it for one of these very dangerous viruses that exist in certain parts of the world, particularly Africa? That's where we usually see the outbreaks, Rwanda. Because I'll tell you, we have a lot of newcomers from all over Africa and all over the world here in Arizona. And um, I'm really worried about if a virus makes it over, that they're not vetted and it makes it over here. That's what I worry about. Because when you don't have order, rules, physical exams, vetting, like, it's just a matter of time. You can't have a free for all. And that's not political, you know? That's protecting your children and your grandchildren. Again, it's not even political. It's common sense. You have to have order, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. See? It's like that line Yeah, it's that line from Titanic. We we will have order here. It's like, is this country like the Titanic? Like, if we don't get order, this ship's going under. Like, we've got to have order. Again, I am all for immigration. I am all for helping those in need. I am all for all of us Americans are. None of us are against that. But you can't just have a free for all. Okay. I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent there. But, because again, we're talking about October surprises, and could, like, an outbreak of Marburg virus. Let me tell you, absolutely, that would shut everything down to a standstill, even if there was 2 cases, right? Yeah. I'm glad you guys all agree. Like, who would not be okay with order? You know who likes chaos? I don't want to freak you guys out. You know who likes chaos? Evil. Evil likes chaos. The universe is a big fan of order, right? There's basic mathematics, physics behind everything. There's this beautiful, intelligent order behind everything, you know? And those people that don't believe in God, I point you to the intelligence and the order behind nature, right? So there you go, right? Got to stop the chaos. Stop the chaos. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Immigration, yeah, but it needs to be, like, done the right way, legal. So, okay, someone asked me, have I ever witnessed someone who had an NDE? Hmm. Well, I wonder if I did. So, most of the time, I've just witnessed people that were passing away and seeing amazing things, saying amazing things, like, again, saying hi to loved ones that had passed away years ago, being completely demented, dementia, Alzheimer's, and then all of a sudden having clear, lucid conversations, like, that patient had dementia and couldn't even speak, and now they're having clear, lucid conversations, and then would pass away. I hadn't had a patient pass away and then come back, because I didn't work in the ER or the ICU or anything like that. So I'm sure doctors that worked in those areas would see that. Right now, as most of you know, I'm family practice, so I don't see them in that condition anymore. And I don't work hospice anymore. Did that for 10 years. I don't do it anymore. Um, but boy, do I love to read about NDEs, right? Yes, I do. Okay, so that answers that. Ooh, someone from Scotland is here. What time is it there? Curious. And what's the weather like there right now? Is it cold yet? I'm really curious. And then for viewers, you guys, I hope you don't think this is a stupid question, but Halloween is an age old, I'll say tradition, right? Because doesn't it originate from like harvest celebrations, getting ready from the harvest and then there's a big celebration. Doesn't that go back to like the time of the Druids? So do they celebrate a type of a Halloween like in Scotland and the UK? I was talking to someone about this and I'm like, they probably have some kind of harvest thing, but if anyone's here from that side of the world or happen to know, can you post here? Because I'm really curious. I guess I could internet search it, but I didn't. So, yeah, Bill, you make a good point. It is wild because what's going on in the world right now, it literally seems like are we witnessing prophecy times? Like, are we witnessing that? Like, are we? Um, yeah. Oh, so Biba's here from the UK. Do you guys have a type of Halloween or harvest celebration like we do here in America? Or is that not a thing anymore in the UK? Or is it like a small thing? Yeah. Same for Australia, because Red Cupid Bow is here from Australia. So curious, what do you guys do? Um, our Halloween is October 31st here in America. Curious what you guys do around the rest of the world, right? Okay. It's cold in Scotland. Oh, it's 4:30 in the morning there. Yeah. 94 degrees here in Phoenix today and 100 degrees for this Saturday. So, if you want to get out of Scotland, it's like a sauna here in Phoenix. Very warm over here, right? Yeah. Dora, I agree. It's good versus evil right now. Mhm. But it's also a very exciting time to be alive, isn't it? Yeah. It's an exciting time to be alive. It is. Exciting and bizarre, right? 10:30 and 10:30 at night there in Tennessee. Yeah. Same here in the UK. Oh, good. Okay, so good to know. So you guys do celebrate Halloween on the 31st. Yeah, we were wondering. Um, I know we go all out here in America. There's the trick or treat, candy aplenty, decorations everywhere. Like it's very commercial and it's kind of a big deal. October 31st in Australia as well. They dress up and go trick or treating. Isn't that? I just wanted to confirm that. I think it's really good to know. So thank you guys for commenting because it does not feel like the season here because again, I'm in my summer clothes. It is so hot here in Arizona today. Um, but yeah, good to know that it's getting it is still getting cold in other parts and you guys are getting ready for Halloween as well. Okay. Well, I think we went over everything. I got to get up early. I promised myself I would not do this for an hour tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. This is super fun. I love when you guys are here. I love your comments. And I'll try not to let this many days pass before we do a live again. I've just been extremely, extremely busy. I hope you all are being busy and productive as well. And thank you from someone just got back from Sedona. Oh, I know Sedona's beautiful, right? Thank you, Beverly. I'll look for that email. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, can I even send that too? Can I send that? Oh, yeah, I can. Okay. If you wouldn't mind, those are here on the live. Would you guys mind hitting the like button because it helps this kind of outreach and putting positive entertainment out there and interesting things too because I find it interesting and super entertaining. And you all give the best comments and emails, so it's been really fun and super inspiring. Again, okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again soon on the next one.